So who do you have at RB9?
My favorite guy ever.
James Conner?
Stop. He made the top 12, but not the RB9. It's Aaron Jones.
Okay.
And this is kind of simple for me. We've seen him have 2 top 5 running back fantasy finishes in his career. A little bit different story back then. Davante Adams was playing for the Packers. But we've seen him finish as the RB2. We've seen him finish as the RB5. This year, Davante Adams is gone. And so far, the Packers have replaced not just Davante Adams, but Marquez Valdes-Scantling with Sammy Watkins, Christian Watson, and Romeo Dubs. He's Dubs. Just moving forward. He's Romeo Dubs. So, not exactly, like, yes, they addressed it, but not exactly anything eye-popping. I think Aaron Jones, who is a upper echelon, very strong pass-catching running back out of the backfield in his own right, is a threat to see the most catches of his career in this new look offense that should utilize both running backs as much as they possibly can. A.J. Dillon led the team in carries last year out of the backfield, and some of that could be attributed to Aaron Jones missing a couple of games, but still, it happened. Dillon led the backfield in carries. I think that should happen again, but I think Aaron Jones should be used kind of in a reverse way that the 49ers used Deebo Samuel last year, where, yes, he mixes in both the backfield and as a receiver, but Aaron Jones should be their running back who's split out wide. Or even if you just line him up in the backfield, he's running a route. He's not in there to take a handoff or to pass block. He's in there to run a route. It's still a good offense, led by one of the greatest to ever do it in Aaron Rodgers. And, as of right now, as of the making of these rankings, the Packers' pass-catching core leaves a little bit to be desired, top to bottom. Aaron Rodgers trusts Aaron Jones. We've seen Aaron Jones perform and produce in a big way in the receiving department. I think you want to talk about running backs whose targets should go up. Aaron Jones seems like a prime candidate. Davante Adams leaves behind a floor of 150 targets. Sammy Watkins and 2 rookies are probably not going to absorb all of that work. I think Aaron Jones should be in line for the most targets and catches of his career. We've seen him have a nose for the end zone in the past. Last year was a bit of a down year for him, but by a points per game perspective, he was still an RB1. I think RB9 is a perfect ranking for him, and I think he's got room to grow. Maybe more than anybody on this list. Maybe not anybody, but the room for tons of work in the receiving game is there, and we've seen him do it before in a big way. Super efficient, by the way. Super efficient.
I like every point you're making. He was not in, I have to come clean, he was not in my top 12 to begin this live stream. Oh. I am going to be moving around my rankings here shortly to put him in there. Right now, tentatively, I think I'm going to have him at RB11.
I think he can catch 65 passes.
I think I'm going to have him at RB11.
Okay.
I do think, A.J. Dillon.
Yeah, I believe in Dillon too.
We've talked about him being the 1A in this offense as soon as this year. Mm-hmm. 187 rush attempts to A.J. Dillon's or Aaron Brown's 171 rush attempts just last season, and almost the same amount of games played. Obviously, we know A.J. Dillon played 2 games without Aaron Jones. But I think that trend continues. Now, we talked a lot in this live stream about wanting running backs who are projected to catch more passes next year than rushes, if your rushes are scaled back, but you have more targets thrown your way. We're not moving off you. In fact, we're more apt to be moving towards drafting you or advocating drafting you, which is why I'm moving Aaron Jones up into my RB11 spot. But he was 11 in fantasy points per game last year. He was not his efficient self. And he finished RB12 in just overall half PPR finishes. He was RB12. But RB11 in fantasy points per game. So fantasy points per game falls in line with where he finished at the end of the year. To the point that I made earlier about running backs having really two elite seasons in the middle of the career if they aren't the ones that fire early, if they're the ones that grow into their role. In 2019, RB3 in fantasy points per game. 2020, RB4 in fantasy points per game. And then A.J. Dillon came along and became really the 1B last year, and he went down to 11. That's not changing for me. A.J. Dillon has a very large role in this offense moving forward, and he can catch passes too.
Yes, he can.
So while his efficiency might get a little bit better, his workload is going to get scaled back. But I am going to have him finishing exactly the same spot I had him finishing where he finished last year in fantasy points per game. I expect him to be RB11. So I am adjusting him to be my RB11 right now.
Okay. Yeah, I think he deserves that. I mean, I don't care where you have him. I think he deserves to be in the top 12. Maybe like to a lesser extent the way we're giving Derrick Henry like the career like honor of like this. We can't possibly put this dude lower than 5th. I can't possibly rank Aaron Jones as an RB2 when all he's done is be an RB1 for his career. And even in a down year last year, he still averaged 4.7 yards per carry.
Your point is real. I stand corrected. Yeah. And I agree.
I think he catches, and last year was actually a career high for him in catches with 52.
Yes, it was.
I think he catches 15 more than that. I think again with the Devontae Adams departure and no other obvious, with Alan Lazard being the one to potentially step up as the wide receiver 1 for this team, I have no reason to believe Aaron Jones can't catch 60 plus.